more time?
So when you have like bonds, which is the kind of backing for all mortgage financing for the most part, outside of like bank portfolio, but everything Fannie and Freddie do is all bond related. They create securities and they sell bonds against it. And then investors buy the bonds and they trade them. But all these bonds are note rates that are much higher than where everybody expects those rates to be. Let's fast forward 12 months from now. So if you have something that is backed by a mortgage-backed security that has a 7.5% interest rate, if you were going to hold on to that for 30 years and that person held that loan for 30 years, it'd be great. But that's not very likely. So the yield, as a result, those bonds are not they're not as valuable as the treasury, even though the spread is bigger. There's a bigger yield on them just because they have a propensity to pay off earlier than the full maturity, of a normal 30-year loan.
Right. So you're saying that people are the bonds are maturing, or
they're prepaying faster. Like if you could guarantee the bond would mature full 30 years, then that spread would come down. But nobody believes that to be the case.
Okay, so until there's a momentum where you think refinancing is going to slow down or not pick up, or not slow down, or not pick up, would allow the margins to be a lot.
Yeah, I think once we come down a little further and we feel like we've leveled off, and I don't think we're going to get back to the 2s and 3s, at least not anytime soon, barring some kind of economic catastrophe. But I think if we're in the 5s, then you'll probably see that spread between bonds and treasuries thin out, and then that'll give us a more stable rate market at a lower price point. So I think just simply historically looking at the spread between those two, like if we were in a normal operating market, I think we'd be seeing primary residence rates at 5.5 instead of 6.5. So we have about 1% that we're hopefully able to see sooner than later, in our market, because that'll free up some inventory and kind of get people that are locked into that 3% rate don't want to trade for a 7, but they'll trade for a 5.5.
Oh, for sure.
As you're looking for deals, that's inventory is key, right?
That's right. Free up inventory, because people that are just to repeat what you said, are in a 3 are not going to trade for a 7. They might trade for a 5.5, and that's what everybody's saying when they're selling it. Or the biggest objection is, I'm waiting for rates to come down to buy something. And and the counter we always tell our agents to say is, what rate, or what would that rate do for you, or what rate change are you expecting? Because rates right now, you could get a 6% interest rate with a FHA, or if you buy it down significantly, you could get it down from, I think I just got your email, which if you're not on, Greg does a email for all realtors on this call, of rates, and I think they're at like a little higher today. They're like at 6.5, but you could buy those down. Can you buy it down to 6?
Yeah, you could. Yeah, I mean, it just, the lower you go, it exponentially gets more expensive.
Oh, good. So again, looking forward to that. And then we have Andrew here. If you wanted to say a little something, Andrew is with 4 Brothers, and part of finding deals is not only loosening up inventory, it's having inventory, been partnering on inventory that you might find in the market. So they have a big marketing component as a wholesaler. It's all about your wallet. When finding deals, you can find them organically, and we're going to talk about the zone defense that we play on leads, and how we identify and teach people to wholesale. So you'll learn that zone strategy today on finding deals. but then you could partner with Four Brothers. So Andrew, did you want to say a quick hello and maybe what you're seeing in the off market space? Are there more people selling off the MLS?
Hey everyone, thanks Nick. It's a weird time in the market. You know, it's the winter months. That always is a slowdown, as I'm sure everyone here knows. So it's hard to really gauge where we're going to be at once we get through that. You know, a lot of it does have to do with the rates. What I've seen is less people that are actually living in the house that we're talking, you know, the seller of a house that they're living in themselves. Those people are way less, you know, prone to move now. So a lot of the properties that we've done over the last year or so have been vacant. You know, a lot of inherited, a lot of vacant. You know, a lot of rentals that are now vacant. So that's the biggest thing I've noticed.
So would you say that you're having more leads? You're because you have a team on the ground that goes to these appointments with owners to see if they're interested in for you all to purchase. Are you guys going on more of those appointments or less of them overall?
Overall for the year up for 2023 versus previous years, but the last few months down, but that always happens in the winter. But this is also kind of like a component of the amount of marketing we're doing as well and the amount of partnerships we've built. So that's always growing. So that's kind of trending the appointment numbers up regardless of overall what the market looks like.
Say that last part again. You're able to do what to track appointments up?
So we're just continually increasing our marketing and building relationships with other investors and agents. And I'm sure we'll talk about this later about, you know, what that looks like. But we have our lead flow is growing every month, essentially, despite what the market's doing as a whole, since we're just increasing our exposure to, you know, how much we're spending on each lead source, you know, how many people are coming to us with leads or appointments that they want us to run for them. So it's kind of a little bit independent from the market.
Yeah, I like that. It's and that goes for personal business, right? The more relationships you are in, the more access to deals you have, and you're more proactive than reactive. This is a market you need to be proactive in, not just waiting for a deal to show up. So I like that. You know, you never know who's going to come to these meetup groups. So please put your information down. You know, there might be someone here that's looking to sell a property. And that might be, you might be the buyer for. So please put your comments, information here in the chat box. What we're going to do is a little bit different today. First, I'm going to do an introduction of Grid, and then I'm going to have Carlos introduce us as a team. And then we're going to get into little groups, a breakout room, if I could get it going in Google Meet, where we're going to be in groups of 5 to introduce ourselves. So look forward to that. And then we're going to get into wholesaling and how, not wholesaling, how you find deals through Zone. And we'll go through that strategy. And then Greg and Andrew are going to get a little Q&A with Nadia. And then we're going to wind up with market data. It is 2:15 right now, and we like to keep things rolling. The plan is going to be to end here by 6:30, so about an hour, 15 minutes. So again, thank you everybody for joining this community. We're in DC, Washington, DC. Grid is a global real estate investment community built for investors by investors. EB, I guess, is the acronym, IBI, investors by investors, or investors for investors. We are not gurus. We are a group of real people doing real deals. So yeah, I have multi-units, and I work with a lot of off-market deals a lot. We're actually talking to an agent that some communities are more prone to that than others. So that's what Grid is. Our mission is to connect, learn, and collaborate. So this is a group. You should be attending 3 to 4 of these a month, these networking events, because these are where the deals are going to be brought. This is where, the uncle or the aunt that inherited a property is going to be like, what do I do with this property I inherited? I'm going to go to a real estate networking event. Maybe I could flip it. This is where I'm going to get my ideas from, or I could just sell it to one of you guys. So you'd be surprised how many real estate investor networking events I've been to and just been able to meet people that are looking to get rid of properties. We welcome all experience levels. So from the grid experts to the grid newbies here. We are life learners. We have about 1 million members, 100,000 million, 1,000 financially free, 2,000 leaders, and 1,000 communities. So we are literally growing, and our vision is to impact millions through the world through advocating financial and entrepreneurial literacy. So without further ado, I wanted to introduce Carlos Garcia. Carlos is my business partner. He is originally from New York and a lawyer by trade. And, he was in law until one of his good friends approached him to buy into a brokerage, lawyer. But he was known amongst his friends as a real estate hype man. He just loved real estate, so much so that his buddy approached him to buy or to start a brokerage. So Keller Williams Capital Properties was founded in 2005. And this wasn't even his realtor, which I am always amazed. Like, why? We're real estate agents. We approach someone that's a non-client. So Carlos invested with his buddy Bo and some other people, Joel, and started this brokerage. Now it's 3 brokerages, over 1,000 agents, and there's actually more than 3 brokerages, but he invests in 3 of them. Over the years, he went part-time realtor and full-time lawyer with 2 kids in 2005, and then made such a good impact on people about how to buy, hold, build wealth for yourself. These tenants are going to pay for your house, that he was able to sell over $20 million in 2005 money, which is a lot of money today, and took this as a career. So Carlos is now leading a team. I'm part of that team. So is Nadia and Pat, who are on this call. We are a sales team. We work with first-time home buyers, investors. That's our main stitch, but also all sorts. So Carlos is here today and leading us to wealth. Carlos, did you want to do a little more intro?
Yeah, real quick. Thank you, Nick. Every time you tell my story, it gets better. I'm not sure it was really that good, but it's been a lot of fun being in real estate. I think fun is the key word. I love it, and so I love hanging out with people who love it or want to try to figure out how to love it. I was just chilling out with a guy. We agreed that we're going to mastermind and go to a lunch in a few weeks together. He's an entrepreneur and also in real estate. He needs money. He's like thinking about selling some of his real estate. I was like, nah, man, don't sell it. You bought it to keep it, to grow it. You didn't buy it to sell it. So I'm always talking people into deepening their relationship with their real estate. And I want to give a shout out to Nick, who's a very good collaborator. Clients feel that way. Other agents feel that way. Builders, handymen, plumbers, you name it. Anyone in the real estate space who interacts with Nick knows that he's all about creating wins together. So that's really the spirit of this grid thing. The 1 million thing, that's not just the DC chapter. That must be the grid network worldwide. We're just the DC chapter right here. So we're probably hundreds, or maybe, I don't know how many have signed up, maybe into the low thousands. We're actually a relatively new chapter, and we're looking to get, some more momentum in 24. I'm not going to say too much more, but what I will say, in terms of finding deals is that, 24 is a time when there's shifting going on, and whenever shifts occur, it's like something shakes out, of the system. Opportunities arise. Back to this conversation a little while ago with the guy saying he's going to sell some of his real estate, and I'm like, dude, like you're going to be exiting the room I'm getting into. Like I'm headed into that room. I'm right now is the time to double down and acquire more real estate or look for more opportunities because we're at an inflection point. So in terms of finding deals right now, it's going to be interesting, but there are going to be people who are giving up a property, giving up on their dream to stay with it and hang on to it because they're just out of gas. Maybe they're out of money, and they're going to be selling stuff right when they shouldn't, because this is the time to buy stuff. But that's the way the world works. Is that these the reason that you have these transitions and these inflection points is that some people sort of go belly up or bust, and that's what creates the new sense of opportunity. So I think that that's what 24 is really going to be about, is the beginning of a transition. When it's concluded, it may not be concluded within the year of 24. When the transition goes to a hot market, that could happen within 24. It could take until early 25. We'd love to know what Greg thinks about that. We'd love to know what you think about that, Nick and others. Then it's going to be radically different. It's going to be a lot harder to buy, a lot easier to sell. And right now, when it's just a little harder sort of to do both, is the time, especially to think about getting in on real estate and finding a deal or two. I was telling Nick, it's really ironic, but real estate sales have been down. You guys all know that. Are you aware? Sales have been down. In the paper the other day, I read that nationally, the number of transactions in 22 was down 18% from 21. And then, no, excuse me, I think it was 22%. And then the number of transactions from 22 to 23 was down 18%. Forgive me, I can't remember which one was 22 and which was 18, but they're both about 20. So let's just say that, it went down 20 and went down 20 again in terms of the number of transactions. I'm not talking about values, just the amount of business to be conducted within the real estate space. So imagine if you had 100, then it goes down to 80 because you lose 20% of it, then use another 20% of it. And you're close to you're close to half of what it was just a little while ago. Another stat is that the number of transactions in 23 was the lowest point since 1995, almost 30 years. Okay. So we're at this inflection point, and you're going to hear conflicting stories. You're going to hear stories that make you think, oh no, it's time to head for the exits. That's what normal people will say. Average people will say, but people who are looking for opportunity know. I think Warren Buffett had a saying to this effect, when people are stampeding out, that's when you need to be pushing in. That's exactly where you get the deltas you're looking for to have a sweet deal. I'm the kind of buyer. I'm a buy and hold person who looks for deals even when the market's hot. I feel like I just want more real estate, period. Over long periods of time, that proves to be very much a way to build wealth. But in particular, when the markets are down and when there are these special opportunities, you gotta, I smell blood. And you gotta be on the hunt is how I look at it. That's my 2 cents. At the end of this, we'll get in a little bit more into some of the data that's driving the local market anyhow. And if you'd like, we can talk a little bit about the national market too, to the extent, we're reading national publications on the market as a whole.
Okay, thank you, Carlos. I like that whole analogy. It was Warren Buffett that said when everybody's pushing to get out, you push to get in.
And sometimes in stocks, in equities, you're selling more. I think there's a strategy in real estate for just hanging on to it, for long periods of time and just not selling. But I think the counterpart to that is, and so when everyone's buying, then sell high in stocks.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, when everyone's pushing in, then you can exit. But you should do the opposite of what the crowd's doing to some degree, right?
100%.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're dealing with something that's about to go poof, like the viability of the thing itself is about to cease. But I don't think that's going to happen with housing, folks. Not for a minute. I think people are going to continue to need houses, a place to live, shelter.
And that's the thing. It's a commodity. It won't go away.
Yeah.
So without further ado, I'm still having my admin team work on the breakout rooms. So we'll and the whole point of the breakout rooms, I went to an investor meetup, and it was nice that they had little groups within the group just introduce themselves, because I know it's a little intimidating doing this big room. So I'm going to wait a little bit to do member intros, so hold on tight.
Can I give a little like commercial for Greg Kingsbury?
I was just going to run through the slides for 10 minutes, and then you could do a nice advertisement.
Okay. I think the world of Greg. So, and I've been his client many times. I've a couple things to say about Greg Kingsbury.
Let me just see. Okay, so let's set the stage. If you are a real estate investor or full-time real estate agent, you are in the sales and marketing business. And that's right. Whether you want to wholesale a home, fix and flip a property, or purchase a rental, nothing happens until you get a lead. And that only happens through prospecting, networking, and marketing. So prospecting is picking up the phones, networking is doing what you're doing here, and then marketing is spending money, essentially, or time. It's important that you are purposeful. You can waste a lot of valuable time, and that's true, and we've all known it, and money if you don't have a game plan or model to copy and implement. Who on this phone call has door knocked before or driven for dollars? And who here has written hand notes to sellers or to homeowners in their community? Who here has sent out mailers and spent a lot of money on sending mail to a certain zip code or subset of buyers or sellers? Is it a lot of money or little money? It depends. Charles is shaking his hand. Yeah, a little bit. It could be a lot of money if you're sending out flyers. It's a lot of time handwriting them and door knocking. So if you have a lot more money, you're more inclined to more money. You're more inclined to spend the money. But if you don't, if you don't have money, you have a lot more time in your hands, and you definitely kind of do more time on hitting the ground, door knocking, and you know, doing phone calls. So the goal is to create predictable opportunities and revenue. So it's just not sending, you get $1,000 from a closing, you send 1,000 mailers, and that's it. You have to be consistent. By becoming the dominant force in any vertical you decide to go after, we approach zone, and it's ultimately sales and marketing system designed to help you zone it and own it. So zone, what does it mean? And write this down. This is, I was gonna breeze through these slides, but this is important, guys. Zero in on your target market. So you have to, step one, research and select your target market, where it's gonna be, what zip code, what demographic, right? Are you looking for elderly? Are you looking for distressed? Are you looking for tax liens? Are you looking for pre-foreclosure, right? This is your zone. What zip code? How many people? Develop your value proposition. I'm able to, I have a buyer that's able to buy any condition as long as it's in the zip code and it has 3 bedrooms. So you have to have your buy box and your value proposition, the all cash offer, close quickly, and then you have to build your brand. How many of you guys use Build It or PropStream? Mariel uses it. Andrew uses PropStream. So those are good tools to get lists from, and I'll drop it in the comments. PropStream is great. You're able to, and I'll do a little plug and play later if you guys stay in, and that's how you could research and select. Then you own the mind share of your market. You start with prospecting. You're talking to people. You're building your network. You go into real estate areas in your neighborhood where you're prospecting, and you multiply through marketing. So you might start mailers, or you might start hiring virtual assistants to call. So that's how you multiply. And so prospecting, the first one is outbound activity. You are trading time for leads. It's very timely. Making offers on listed properties, checking newspapers, Craigslist, Facebook, and local sources for deals. Investor Lift is a great one. Going door to door, calling FSBO. These are all, in the streets, I call it. I'm in the streets. I'm in the grocery store talking to people. Who comes to the grocery store every day and orders the same sandwich? Who do you know? Who's your neighbor? How distressed are they? Who's raking the leaves outside? I mean, who's not? And I'm talking to those people that are outside raking the leaves or ordering the sandwich. Those are the people that are going to be giving me deals. But again, it is trading time for leads. Networking. So that's even less cumbersome, because if someone's in a real estate investment network, they're there to talk about real estate. Whereas the guy ordering the sandwich or the guy raking the leaves, they might not be talking about real estate. So you're trading time for money. A little bit more time efficient is networking. This is letting the world know that business you are in and how you could help. What's your value proposition? So that's where attending investor events like Grid is. Bigger pockets, stuff like that. Tell everyone in the world that you invest in this. Multi-units, self-storage is becoming huge. Mobile homes. There's a guy here that bought a mobile home park, and it was off market. It's all from networking. Become a connector, add value to others, build a dream team. We cover that. Marketing, this is using dollars and leverage to deliver. So you could partner with wholesalers. I know Four Brothers and Market Pros does a lot of postcards, door hangers. They create websites. They do ads. And your message is tailored to the audience you're trying to help. Sell fast, sell for cash, all those things. Nurture. So now you have a database. I'll have all these people that you called, prospect, and networked with. And now you have to nurture. So my goal for every networking opportunity is to meet 4 new people, get their business card, and network with them. So this is where you all come into play and drop your come to the in-person events that we have with Grid, or drop it in the discussion right here. So nurture is incubate your database, create digital content, convert to leads. So you empower your community, empower these leads. You educate the community, attend and host events, engage in local businesses. Again, the mom and pop shop that gets someone coming there every day, ordering the sandwich. Those are the people that have the ear to the ground. They know what the neighbors are saying. The local barbershop, they're talking to everybody. So I don't know if you guys wanted to write down a few things you learned out of this slides. Do that real quick. Take a minute. What created a shift in your thinking? All right, and this is where we're gonna just do, my breakout room is not working, so I'll work on that. That'll be my task for next time. So we're just gonna do member introductions. We could go around the room, just say, let me see what I have written down here. Your name, why you are attending Grid, and what you're looking to get at a Grid, and then if you have a deal to share, or what you're looking to, or if you're looking for a deal. Charles, you want to start us off?
Me?
Yeah.
I've already introduced myself.
Charles.
I'm here to find out what you guys are interested in learning or doing. I can help with regard to making money short term, like as in like a job, meaning like flipping houses, which is like, money now kind of thing, or the long game of buying and holding. I'm not too knowledgeable about how to lend money, which is another way to make money in real estate. And I certainly can tell you a thing or two about borrowing it because I've borrowed a heck of a lot of it. But those are about 4 things that I could think of that we could work on together. Would be how to make money short, which is flipping. You could say how to make money medium, which is flipping condos. How to grow your wealth long, which is buying and holding. I could introduce you to people who could talk to you about how to lend money if you've got a bunch of money, you want to make money off your money. And then I have a lot of thoughts on borrowing money because I do it myself a lot. I'm under review right now. Got another screen open. Greg, the only reason I'm not talking to you is because the property's in California. Otherwise, I'd be talking to Greg first. And I borrow a lot of money. So there's a lot to think about how to set yourself up so that you can borrow money again and again and again and borrow against other assets and, move the shells around in your shell game to sort of grow your thing. Those are things that I could work on with anybody here or collaborate or, introduce you to people who could help you a little better than me, maybe. Anybody interested in anything along those lines? And then if so, maybe that could be an entree to your introduction. Only because I saw his head going up and down. Charles, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, absolutely. So it's actually, I can't change. It's Chip. The only time people call me Charles is if I'm in trouble, and I'm not in trouble yet. So soon enough, you guys can call me Charles. But for now, so I'm in the private lending space. Have been in the private lending space for about 30 years, and here networking, always about meeting new investors. And look, I'm happy if anybody wants to talk about what lenders are looking for from investors, because a lot of times the most important part is putting your best foot forward and understanding what you can do and how you can do it. And we touch a bunch of different kinds of investors and a bunch of different vehicles. So I won't bore you with all the details tonight, but I wanted to at least introduce myself.
And is this your first grid?
It's my first one, and this one I've known Rob for years and years.
Good. And do you have a deal? You have a deal to share?
No, I'm here meeting investors for lending purposes.
No deal.
Sorry. Yeah. Wish I did.
I'm going to go around the room. Mariel Coleman. The mute button is unmute by the hang up button by the camera.
You call me?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you said Coleman. It's like, okay, Colmenares. How you doing, guys? Moriel Colmenares, investor. Still looking for my first deal. Here to meet all these interesting people and network and grow my my network. No deal. Interesting to talk to Charles Shear later on.
There we go. Looking for a deal. Put your buy box down here and your email, and we'll keep you informed. Do you have a buy box yet?
I'm working on it right now because yeah, I was looking for multifamily, but I need to work on a specific that I'm thinking right now.
Sounds good. Please share it. Love to support you on your goal.
Yes, sir.
All right, Jason Lee, and then Henry Egghart.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Jason Lee. This is also my first grid meeting here in DC. I've done a couple of grid meetings also with Rob, but I'm in DC, and this is much more convenient. So it's a pleasure to meet all of you. And also, actually, this is the market that we're interested in. So my wife and I, just quick story. We're investors. We've looking to grow wealth. So to your initial question, Carlos, certainly looking to grow wealth long. So happy to chat more about that. We've been pretty passive for a while. So kind of had a few single family homes in other markets that we had previously lived. But really now, like trying to focus on this and keen on growing the business. My we've got some small kids, so my wife is just qualified and she's at home now, so she's been qualified as a real estate professional. So that's another reason why we're really keen on investing in the near term to kind of take advantage of the bonus depreciation too. We just did our first purchase in DC last year. At the end of last year, we did a triplex in Capitol Hill that we're hoping to transform into kind of a midterm rental. Currently, it's got some long-term tenants in there, but as they turn, as those leases turn, we're looking to do the midterm to try and get things to cash flow a bit better, just given the market. And I'm sure all the investors here have been struggling a little bit with that. So that's what we're looking at, and yeah, and keen to do one more this year. So very much actively looking for something. DC is a tough one. We're learning a bit about the rules on the landlord tenant stuff. So struggling with that a little bit. So not sure if the next one will be in DC or if it'll be Maryland or Virginia. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell. Pleasure to meet all of you, and look forward to chatting.
Thanks.
Further.
Looking forward to learning about this tenant situation, long-term to short-term tenants. That's a mouthful.
You mean like 90-day plus?
Yeah. So given the DC stuff, that's what we're looking at. Yeah, because we're not staying there.
Yep.
We'll have Henry go, and then Malik and Rich. Henry, you might be on mute. It's right next to the hang up button.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm Henry Eggehart. I'm just want to learn about real estate. I'm interested in getting into investing, and I just want to learn a little bit more about the status of the market and how to do it right now, and soak up some of your wisdom.
When you say investing, do you mean like buying and renting a property?
Yes.
And do you mind saying what makes you want to do that versus say stocks?
Well, I already have some stocks, and I think it's, of course, it's kind of, DC is kind of a tough place for that right now, but maybe I can do something in the combination of, living in it and renting out a portion of it or something like that. And leverage, tax benefits, so forth. But I need to learn about it and see if it's feasible right now for me.
And where do you live now?
I live in Alexandria right now.
Okay.
But I'm not living in my own place. I have a long-term place to live, but not forever.
Got it. All right.
Thanks, Henry. Malik, and then Jay, and then Stephen Baker.
Hey, can you hear me?
Malik,
Yes.
What's up, man?
Carlos, how's it going? How's it going, Nick?
Good.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. So the question is, introduce myself. What's my target?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. What are you looking to get out of grid, and do you have a deal, or are you looking for a deal?
Okay, so hi, I'm Malik. I've been to a few group meetings already. I just think it's a good group to interface with, to keep real estate and looking for deals and analyzing deals on the brain. Right now, looking for long-term hold opportunities, ideally in the let's say 2 to 4 units. I think I want to try to master that before I tackle something bigger than that. What else? And then have a deal that I'm looking at. Potentially could be a student housing play near Howard University. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now.
Oh man, that's
Cool.
always admirable.
That's a good move.
Yeah,
I've got a 2-unit near Howard University, and I've had it for like 20 years, and I've had many groups come through the units, and good 3 or 4 of them have been from Howard. For some reason, and usually grad students as opposed to undergrads.
Okay.
Is your thing focused on undergrads or grads? You know,
too early to make that. It's I think haven't made that decision yet. I would prefer grad students. I remember what I was like as an undergrad. I wouldn't want to rent to me as an undergrad. But and potentially I was thinking maybe Howard University would be interested in leasing the property for when they have maybe like long-term guest professors or something. So yeah, still very early stages, but because of the location, I think the Howard angle is something I need to explore.
I just want to drop one thing on you. So I'm no expert in this, but there are experts. My 2-unit is like 2 3-bedroom apartments. It's just a small property.
Okay.
But if you're thinking about ever getting into something more substantial, like a building, I was on the board of my college for 8 years, and I was always on the finance committee. And one of the last things I learned, because it was one of the last experiences I had, was we had a bumper crop of accepted students, and we had a housing shortage on campus. And so the CFO of the school pitched the board finance committee and said, look, these are the reasons why we want to rent this small building downtown adjacent to our campus. This is not just solving our immediate problem of we're enrolling too many students here, but there's a trend. But all I'm trying to say is I believe this is something people should be looking into very, very seriously. And it's part of where universities may be headed. It's not just about whether they lack sufficient housing on campus. Actually, what's happening with kids, this is what I learned from the CFO in terms of trends on college campuses, is like they're going places like, study abroad in France or Tanzania or Chile. Who knows what some world changing experience that they have, where they went out and see the world. Then junior year, then they got to come back senior year and live in a dorm, and then they're going to go out into the world after they graduate. So it's almost like a regression for them, especially in that senior year. And then just kids in general are just getting more sophisticated, and they just can't be relegated, not all of them, to just dorm living. They need more options. And so off campus, whether it's way off campus or immediately adjacent, it's a thing, and it's a growing market. So there's a lot to learn there.
Add to that, he sits on the board. Carlos sits on the board for Connecticut College. So
I did. I used to.
Oh, excuse me.
Nice, thank you, Carlos. That's good feedback.
And I've met a couple of dudes in the space. So let me know if you really end up wanting to know more about it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I have a developer client friend who, and in his case, he might have been thwarted a little bit, like it didn't go as he expected. But sometimes, learning the pitfalls is helpful too. He bought a big building, like it looks like a big apartment building in Baltimore, and I forget which college or it was a UMD campus. One of them might have been a grad school that he was trying to strike a deal with. Like this is like long-term type tenant. 10, 15-year type leases potentially, with the potential probably on the back end for being bought out if they decide they just want the asset, right? If it works out well.
All right, so we got Jay, then Stephen Baker, then Rich.
Awesome. Hey, Nick, it's a pleasure to meet you and actually put a face to the name. Carlos, thank you again for having us and putting this on together. So my name is Jay. I'm actually here from Maryland and Howard County, Columbia, Maryland. I work with the Waldron Winters team, so we have a large sales team that covers the whole state. Why am I attending this event? So I've recently started investing as of February of this past year. I did my first deal in terms of I partnered up with one of our agents, found a property, and it was just a really good investment opportunity for them, and they got a buy-sell out of that. So I'm really just looking to build a investing branch for our team that allows just agents in our team to get investment opportunities and start creating wealth. I'm a big believer that we're in this game, right, to build our wealth as well. So get some opportunities for myself included while I'm trying to build my cash. Now, I know that you don't need necessarily cash in hand to buy deals because you can always get funds from it. So that's something that I'm definitely interested in learning more about. Currently, right now, I am working on a deal with one of our agents. It's looking like we might be putting it up in the market soon. It just wasn't going to be a good investment overall. So we still wanted to make sure that we got a win-win. And that's the route that he decided to go. And that's perfectly fine, right? Yeah, and usually right now I'm looking to wholesale a couple deals. I'm also looking for become better at lead generation, right, and conversion, right, finding the deals and having conversations and getting in front of sellers. So
Love it. Love your energy, Jay. Look forward to it. Yeah, please post here. And if you want to post that deal, if it's under buyer agency or whatever agreement, please post it.
Yep, will do.
We got Stephen Baker, Rich, and then Christopher Price.
Hello, everyone. I'm Stephen Baker. I've been in the real estate industry for like 20 years. My core business, I'm a home inspector, but I'm also a real estate investor. My portfolio is in Baltimore and in Howard County, mostly single family and row homes. I'm also a 203K consultant. So if you guys are new to investing, you may not be familiar with that terminology, but there's a long story short, there's a product that Fannie Mae, well, FHA offers called a 203K where you can buy and rehab all in one loan. And you will need a consultant like myself. There's also a conventional product that Fannie Mae offers, and sometimes you need a consultant as well. So I hold a hat in both of those where I can help you with that. I also do a lot of Section 8 on my properties, and I'm in the short-term rental space, primarily in Baltimore City on the short-term rentals by Johns Hopkins for all the grad students and stuff that come in and out, and all the professionals, the nursing professionals and doctors that want to work at Johns Hopkins. So what I'm trying to get out, this is my first grid meeting, and what I want to get out of it is increasing my wholesale inventory and just getting more wholesale inventory to sell to other investors. I also want to set myself up as a potential mentor to investors that want to, get more knowledgeable in investing. So that's what I want to do.
I think that's your definite value add. Steven's got the Baltimore know-all, and I invited him here today because he did a 203K inspection for one of our clients that's doing a product. And the reason why she's on the borderline between our client, between doing a hard money and Fannie Mae, what is it called? Renovation loan?
Yeah, Fannie Mae home style renovation loan.
Home style, and they give better rates and better terms, but you got to meet with this man right here, Steven, and people like him. So he's a good person to have network with and do deals together. So thank you, Steven, for joining us.
Sure, no problem.
Steven, I have a question. In order to do business with potential tenants, short-term or otherwise, associated with Johns Hopkins or working there, how close to Johns Hopkins do you feel you need to be? Is there like a radius?
Both of my properties that I have right now are 0.8 miles away. So 7, 8, I'm 8 blocks away, but preferably, I mean, if you're 1 block away, that's a lot better.
Did you say 0.8 or 0.0?
0.8. So I'm 8 blocks away. You can literally walk to Johns Hopkins in under 8 minutes from where I'm at.
Got it. Okay, got it.
We got Rich, Christopher, and then Anthony.
Yeah, hi, my name's Rich Rusin, and I'm here basically to kind of network and gain knowledge and find a bit more information. I basically have I own 4 properties in Pennsylvania. I'm down to 2 there. I had 2 properties that I sold in Beach area, New Jersey, 3 in Maryland, and I have one in West Virginia. I had a second one in West Virginia, and I recently acquired a multifamily in Texas. So I've been sort of all over the place with things, and I'm here basically just to kind of network and pick up um, pick up some knowledge and stuff like that. I'm looking at a couple of things right now, and that I might try to pick up additionally. And actually, Carlos, I'll probably give you a call after this grid if you don't mind. I've got your number, so
That'd be great. That'd be great, Rich. Good to see you.
and
New Year.
thanks, and that's about it for me.
Thanks, Rich. Always good to see you as continue to network and see you do deals. However we could support you, Rich, let us know.
Thanks.
We got
But
Christopher and Anthony, and then John Ma.
Hi everyone. My name's Christopher Price. I am new to investing. This is my first meetup as far as investing goes. I'm like in the process of trying to build my systems for investing, and as opposed to like trying to find new leads, you know, every time I want to buy a property. I was advised that networking is a very powerful way to go because you can, you know, meet someone that can send you leads down the line. So all of this is a little new to me. I do have some mentors and some advisors, and I'm just trying to get going. I want to focus in the Washington D.C. area. I'm from there, and I bought a house in Baltimore, moved to Baltimore, and I'm gonna end up moving right back to D.C. Interestingly enough, I'm like 2 blocks away from Johns Hopkins, so I got to find something to do with this property. But yeah, I'm here for networking.
I love it. I love it, man. You know, it throws you for a loop. You go to Baltimore, you come back. Yeah, there's plenty of opportunities in Baltimore. So listening to you guys, my multifamilies are in DC, Capitol Hill, right there with forgot who said had a nice multi-unit. I think it was who had it? Jason. So right there with Jason, but always interested. I originally invested in Philadelphia. It was a nice entry point. I might enter that market again. Let's see. Good returns, because DC has very little returns. So Anthony, and then John Ma, then Cherie.
Hey, I'm Anthony Aligo. I have a few rental properties, commercial and residential, in the DC area and some in Florida. Looking to basically look for as an investor in something, if someone has a good property they're going after, and or connecting with some of these third-party lenders that are and going into my own property. So looking to do both sides, both either as financing something or doing something on my own.
Happy New Year, Anthony.
Happy New Year, Carlos.
And if you are you looking for a good wine spot, he's got a amazing spot on 12th Street. If you just drop that in the comments, Anthony, or I could do.
It's a terrific wine bar to meet friends or to rent it out for an event.
Yeah, we rented it out or partnered with Barcata, which is his wine bar, and it was fantastic. I don't know what you put in those drinks, but we're still talking. Yeah, that's good. John, then Cherie, and then I see Nicole Booker and anybody else that I missed out. I think that there's a few more people that are not showing up.
Yo, what's up? This is my first time at this meetup. Looks like a pretty great group. Just out here for some networking, looking to meet some more agents and other wholesalers and whatnot. Got a couple fix and flips looking to sell here, but I'm really looking to focus on just getting more wholesale deals here this year. And I actually partnered with Four Brothers. They do all of my sales. You know, they do a great job at it. So, but yeah, you know, just out here for some networking.
Oh, that's awesome.
Where are the fix and flips?
DC and Baltimore City as well.
Are they single family?
Yeah, they're all row homes. Yep. Yeah, row homes are nice because they're just really cookie cutter, you know.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, I'd like to hear more about that when Andrew comes on. How nice he is to work with. We got Cherie, then Nicole Brooker, and I see Marielle.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cherie. I am with Simply Funded. We are lenders. We do hard money loans, and we also do traditional loans as well. I specialize in loans for self-employed individuals if you want to move into your own home. I'm working right now with the Grid DC team on a renovation loan for an investment property. So if you need money and you need it in a simple fashion, then you can definitely contact me and I'll put my information in the chat for everybody.
Thank you, Cherie. Please do. And I love being on your listserv because you always email me when there's a new product. You got so many of them, Airbnb products to DSCR loans.
We have all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, really good
yeah,
resource. And she has webinars, which education-based and founded. Myself and Carlos, we love doing webinars, so she really loves doing them as well.
And one more thing, I also just send out general business information as well. So right now, if anybody is in default for your EIDL or your PPP loans, the government has a grace period through the end of March where you can get on a payment plan and not have it, knock you out with regards to your personal credit. So just letting people know that as well. I'll put my information in the chat if you want me to forward you the SBA press release.
Sweet, thank you. Nicole Booker.
Hi, everybody. I'm Nicole. I'm based out of Alexandria, Fairfax County, Virginia, but I do spend a lot of time in Florida. I'm an entry-level investor. I'm interested in financial freedom and building wealth as well as mentorship. I just had 2 years on that primary in Alexandria, so I'm looking to make an educated decision on a new primary or new investment opportunity. That house is midterm rental right now. It's doing well on Furnished Finders. And so from that success, I have motivation and momentum to keep it going. I'm also a Hopkins grad student right now. I'm getting my doctorate. So I appreciate all the Hopkins chats and the student housing consideration. So I'm just trying to make an educated decision. I'm interested in how to leverage, I'm a federal employee, so how to leverage a solid, secure salary for more borrowing power. So I appreciate Carlos mentioning that. And yeah, I'm happy to be here. This is my first meeting, so thanks.
Thanks, Nicole. Thanks for joining us. Muriel, did you get to go yet?
Yes, I did.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, good.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I have the Ayari properties and Yolanda. Thank you, Yolanda. Yolanda, and then we'll finish off with Ayari, and then we'll get into our guests. Yolanda, you want to go first? The mute button's right by the turn off camera. Or if Ayari properties, Ayari. I'm sorry, it only allows, I guess I could see it here. Last hellos. Okay. Hopefully at the end we'll leave the chat room open for you guys to network. Again, I apologize. There's a chat room function which would be a lot more conducive for networking, and we'll work on that for next time. So I'm going to hand the mic over to my associate Nadia to do a little Q&A with our guest. Nadia, if you want to do a little intro, or I could do an intro for you. But
Yeah, I guess I'll introduce myself. So I am Nadia Mohammed. I'm a licensed realtor here in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. I am also part of the Garcia properties team. Very, very happy to be on the team. So today we have two.
Wait, you didn't say that you're an investor and that you have a nice rental property and you think about getting another rental property and you're really good in Anacostia if anybody has needs them.
Yes, so I do have a rental property. It's in Anacostia. Super love that area. And I am looking for future investment properties for rentals. Anacostia area. I'm also looking in different parts of DC, but I do want to get all of my properties within DC. Just for personally, like being able to like get to each property in case I needed to for any reason, that sort of thing. And I'm also born and raised in DC, so I'm very familiar with different parts of the district. Okay, so two of our guest speakers today, we have Greg Kingsbury. I'll start with you. He is the SVP of Vellum Mortgage. And I just kind of wanted to start off with kind of giving us kind of your background and, you know, how you got into the business and a little bit more about yourself.
Yep. So yeah, I'm, as you said, with Vellum Mortgage, and I have really been a DC, Maryland, Virginia guy my whole life. I grew up in Southern Maryland, went to the University of Maryland, and currently live and reside in Maryland as well. So very familiar with all the areas around here, and don't really see myself going anywhere anytime soon. I kind of fell into the mortgage world a little backwards. I used to be a bartender while I was going to University of Maryland, getting a criminal justice degree. Thought I was going to go, you know, Secret Service, something to that nature, but that didn't happen. But a bunch of loan officers used to come into the bar all the time, and they were like, "You'd be great at this. You should become a loan officer." I didn't even know what that was, but I went ahead and gave it a try because I wasn't getting hired anywhere else, and yep, that's where I am today.
Awesome. So how long have you been a mortgage loan officer?
It'll be 21 years next month.
Holy cow.
Yep.
So can you, I guess, talk a little bit more about Vellum Mortgage and some of the products that you guys have to offer?
Yeah. So we're local. Our headquarters are in Fairfax. We have a couple offices and one in Rockville. I kind of man the office in Annapolis. So we're really kind of hypersensitive to this area, although we're licensed from New Jersey down to Florida, California, Texas, a couple places like that. I've worked at some very large corporation mortgage companies, and then in 2018, I was given an opportunity to kind of help build out Vellum Mortgage and start it from scratch. And so just over 5 years now that I've been here, and we've grown and made a very good company. What we do is, we're more on the verified kind of like prime side of things, like your traditional mortgages, although, we do have some good products for this type of group, like the fix and flip product for investors, the DSCR, and we're happy to, kind of go in and explain all that. But then we have all your more traditional Fannie Mae back things where if you're, fully qualifying on income and assets and of the like there, usually those are better terms, but, obviously more paperwork. But as a local company, it's all we do is mortgages. So when someone's like, why would I use you over my bank? Well, you have a bank that's doing all kinds of things. They're, they got their checkings and savings and credit cards and car loans and boat loans and mortgages and home equity lines. So there isn't a singular focus to be the best at one of them. They want to just provide everything. When you get to like a mortgage specific company, if we're not good at doing the mortgage side, then, we're really not a viable company. So everything we do is to try and be the best at what we're doing. And I think we're doing a pretty good job with that.
Yeah, no, you guys are awesome. Yeah, I've only gotten positive feedback from clients who've, had their mortgage with Vellum. So can you go into some of those loan products that you started to mention?
Yeah. So, I mean, traditionally you have, I think for everybody on this call, it seems like there's, a good mixture of, some people looking to invest, some people looking to, find places to sell and on the real estate side. So, yeah, it is good just to know what's available and what's out there. So on your more traditional, kind of Fannie Mae lending side, in the investor world, it's generally a 15% down payment as the minimum. But rates don't really get competitive until you get to about 25% down. However, earlier this year, they changed the rules on multifamily for if somebody's going in to buy it as their primary residence, which is great for people on this call. If you want to buy a 4-unit property, but the person's going to move into it, it's now 5% down, which is way more affordable than it used to be. Used to be 20% down for a conventional, 3.5% if you did FHA, but they have this backwards calculation that almost never works. Certainly didn't work at these high interest rates. But now conventional's kind of got to solve for that. So that's good. That's more on your traditional, kind of mortgage offerings. And then you have the DSCR loan, which is really investor driven. The DSCR, what that is debt service cover ratio. So that's where they take the rent, and the rent has to meet a certain component of the actual mortgage payment. And with 20% down, generally it has to be like one for one, at least with the product we have. So, if the mortgage payment is $4,000 and the rent is $4,000, then the property basically approves itself for the loan. So you're not getting like all your bank statements and pay stubs together. The property is the collateral and also the qualifier. If you're doing 25% down, they get a little bit more aggressive where you only have to be at 0.75. So you're doing 25% down and the mortgage is $4,000 and the rent's $3,000. Again, that's enough for that loan to go through. And there's some pretty unique attributes to that. You can actually do up to an 8-unit property with the DSCR loans. So 1 to 4 is your traditional residential, which is kind of that world that we live in like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac terms. But then, if you had a 5 to an 8-unit property, you can actually use a DSCR for that. They allow you to put them in LLCs, which is, a little bit more unique to those types of products. Now, the rates on all those are higher just because they're riskier transactions. So you pay a little bit of a premium. But, again, if the numbers work, the rate probably shouldn't be as sensitive because you've got income coming in that the interest rate is now an offset of income. So you're saving, you're not paying the taxes on that. And then ultimately you're doing it to get an asset that is going to go up in value. Then you have rents paying it down. So it's a great product for that. And, again, it's, the basis of this call is finding deals. So when you're finding the right deal to fit that type of product and that type of buyer, you can have a pretty extensive portfolio using them too. I believe they allow up to like 10 finance properties. So again, good outlet there. I mean, again, you pay a little bit of a premium because it's not like that fully documented. Yes, I have the income coming in from a W-2 job to pay for all that, but it is a good way to acquire property and in an easier fashion. And then there's a fix and flip program, which allows you to do 85% down and then finance 100% of the renovation costs. Nice. Again, it's a 12-month loan, so it's not meant to be a buy and hold of any sort. It's really like, again, you're on this call, you find a deal, it's a shell, you're like, I can, if I do this and do this and do this, I can turn around and I can flip it and sell it and make make a good profit, like that's where that comes in. And again, you know, the rates are higher, but we're talking about a short-term thing, and it's, you know, that's needs to be the focus. Like what can I recapture, and, you know, how quickly can this be done, and what's kind of like the, you know, the outcome of if I do X, Y, and Z to the property. And, you know, that's where you guys come into play quite a lot, is like, all right, well, found this killer deal, you know, it was an estate sale or something, who knows, and, you know, maybe it needs $150,000 worth of work, and you can turn around and sell it and make another 100,000 on it. So those are probably the more kind of specific to the grid network that I think, you know, product wise that we have, and that are, you know, pretty good and interesting offers that, you know, get people thinking about it.
And so can you, I guess, talk a little bit about kind of the current market and where current interest rates are?
Yeah, I mean, the current market is anything but predictable. I actually put out a video the other day, and I was kind of making fun of all the predictions in terms of, like, you know, so the beginning of 23, you have like NAR, you have Fannie Mae, you have all these places that say, we think rates are going to be here at the end of the year. And, you know, these are the, you know, the supposedly the smartest of the smartest, and they were way off. You know, they had forecast high 4s, low 5s by the end of the year, and we were mid 7s, so not even close. So, yeah, I put out a video saying I think rates are going to be in the 4s, because if I'm right, I'm going to be a genius, and if I'm wrong, I'm just another expert. So I don't really know what exactly is going to happen. I do know that the trend finally is rates are moving down. Inflation has seemingly checked itself. It's going to be a downward slope. I just think it's going to be up and down along the way. There, you know, we'll probably catch a good month of data, like, you know, the inflation reports might come in great, and then we'll see some drop, and then the jobs report might come out that exceeds expectations, which is, you know, kind of anti-inflationary. And the more people that have jobs and have money, the more goods are spent, and then that's, you know, that's a driver of pushing inflation up. So then we'll, you know, we could see some kickback in a scenario like that. But I think the overall trend is we kind of maxed out in October, November, mid-December. We really started to get a feel that the Fed was done raising rates, and now it's just how long do they hold without doing damage to the economy before they start bringing them down. I think everybody believes they'll probably start coming down at some point this year, whether it's March, whether it's July, whether it's, you know, November, December, is anyone's guess. And I mean, even the Fed doesn't really know yet. They're waiting for the data to come out, because they don't want to do it too soon, have inflation go back up. They don't want to leave rates too high too long and push us into a recession. You know, they're looking for that middle ground, that soft landing that they call it. And, you know, no one thought that was a achievable task, but it does seem like there is a possibility that they could bring inflation down without driving us into a negative place, which would, you know, be something that's never actually happened before.
Gotcha. I guess, are there any last words or anything else you'd like to share with the group?
I mean, nothing really, I guess, comes off the top of my head. It's just, I think, you know, when we get through a market like we've just gotten through, you know, if you're looking to do things, you know, a lot of people I talk to always are very rate focused. And I think that, you know, it makes sense. You want to pay less, but, you know, there's opportunity with where rates are now, simply because there's less people that are jumping in. And I think when rates come down, we're going to probably see a lot more competition, less deals to be had. And, you know, so that's kind of the message that we're trying to bring home, because you can always refinance the debt down the road if the market changes. But if the market does go down and you waited, now, you know, you have 5 times the amount of people trying to get the same house. And you know, if the goal is to find a deal, there's going to be a lot less deals to be found.
For sure. Carlos, did you want to say anything about Greg? You had mentioned earlier you had some things to say about Greg.
Yeah. He's the, there are different types of loan officers I work with, depending on my situation. I've worked with hard money lenders, for example. And I've also worked with lenders in other parts of the country. When it comes to working with a local lender here in DC, Maryland, and Virginia, of first resort, conforming FHA, VA type lender, you gotta consider him, Greg, because he is very smart.
Mm-hmm.
He is very succinct, and he doesn't BS you. And those three things are a lot. They're really a lot. So he helps you get to the answer quickly. I met a new client today. She told me some stuff that just didn't sound right about her scenario borrowing. And she might be right. It just didn't sound right to me. Greg, I'd like to talk to you about it in a minute. I won't take these people's time, but offline, to figure out if the answers she's getting are really, where we have to leave it. And the other thing about Greg is he will tell you sometimes like, oh, go over there and get the money there at this moment, not right here, not with me. For what you're trying to do, you need to be over there. So he'll direct you to the right resource, whether it's somebody who sort of does what he does but slightly differently, or someone who does a completely other line of lending. Greg's been my go-to guy. I am so, look, I may not be whole lot of things, but if there's one thing I am, it's an experienced borrower. I borrowed a lot of money way beyond my pay grade over the years. And for all the money I've borrowed, I've tried to borrow a lot more and just didn't get it. So I'm out there, trying to borrow money all the time. And I go to Greg first. If I do this deal in California with family, with my son, I'm looking maybe buying in California. I'm going to be asking Greg, does this look right to you? He's going to be double checking my stuff for me, even though he's not a California lender, just because that's how I view him, as a resource. Most of the time, as the resource for the money that I get and my clients get. And even when he can't be the resource for the money, he's a resource otherwise. And he's, comes from a place of like, there's plenty of business for me to do. I won't necessarily capture every deal, but I'm going to do people right. So that's my plug for Greg, and that's the truth. And he's worked for many more of our clients than he has for us realtors, because obviously we personally can transact, but only every so often. So he's helped possibly hundreds of our clients at this point. Right? Yeah, it has been hundreds.
Well, we met in 2005, so I was pretty new in the business.
I love the lending institution he works for now, but sometimes I can't remember which one he's at, because he goes where he has to go to get the best deals for his clients. But I got his number memorized: 301-254-1486.
That's right.
Right up there. Who needs even remember phone numbers these days? So that's my plug for Greg. No nonsense, super intelligent, expert of his industry. Expert. So I highly recommend, especially if what you're trying to do is reach for the low-hanging fruit, which just the basic investors who can buy a home through, your primary residence, ideally move out of your primary and make that your rental, or single family up to 2 to 4 units, conforming, Freddie, Fannie, FHA, VA, the sort of normal residential stuff, then I highly recommend you go to him. Yeah, and then just quickly, were we going to have any more interviews, or?
Yeah, one more. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, that would be Andrew, right? And
yeah.
Who's quarterbacking this interview? Is that you, Nadia, or is it back to Nick? Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Awesome. So Andrew, you're up.
Excellent.
Yeah. So similar to Greg, if you can give us a little bit about your background.
Sure. So I started with Four Brothers back in 2017. When I started, I was actually the first hire. It was just the two owners of the company at the time. And for anyone who's unfamiliar, we kind of hit on it earlier, but Four Brothers is a company that flips and wholesales properties in the DMV. So we do DC, Maryland, and Virginia. Have been around for a little over a decade now, and we're doing about 200 to 300 properties a year on average. So very high volume. But back when I started, it was just the three of us, and then a few, admins and VAs overseas. We were mostly renovating at that time, a lot of DC proper. But then as we started to ramp up and do more marketing, we were getting too many opportunities to renovate at one time. You can't really be in the middle of 30 renovations at a time. So we started wholesaling. And then over the years, we've, built out the team, and that allowed us to increase our volume of deals. So now we're at that over 200 number per year, and we're wholesaling a majority of them. And background, it's really just been this, but as we've grown, I've served a number of roles. I've been the inside salesperson talking to sellers, setting meetings. I've been the manager of the sales team. I've worked on the dispo when we were flipping more. I worked on the, transaction coordination. I would call DCRA, beg them to approve us for stuff. And now I'm serving as the JV coordinator, which is, I'll hit on it later, but it's in charge of our JV program. But I've had my hands in a lot of the business. I've been in charge of the marketing for a few years now. So really learned a lot over the last 7 years.
Awesome. And I guess, could you give us just a little bit of background on specifically like the wholesaling business?
Sure. Like what it is?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So wholesaling is when you work directly with the seller and make an offer to purchase their property. Sometimes there's agents involved representing the seller, but most of the time it's direct to the seller. And the offer is generally going to be a cash as is offer, where the purchaser will be covering the closing cost. The seller won't be responsible for any commissions, and it can be a quick sale. They don't have to empty the house, put a dime into it, things like that. At least that's how our offers are. Once the property, the contract is accepted, we now have a contract on the property, and it is assignable with the language we use in our contract. It allows us to assign the contract to another buyer. So what we'll do is instead of going to closing, purchasing the property yourself, coming up with the money, and purchasing it, then managing a renovation, then managing the sale, we advertise it out to our group of buyers, which we've built out over the years, and basically find someone who wants to take on the project themselves. We don't disclose what price we have the contract at with the seller. And, we basically, whoever gives us the most money on it with like the good financial, their financials check out, we'll sell to them. And then we get the delta in those two contracts as our profit. And we're paid out at that first closing. So basically we swap out the other buyer, the other investor closes on it with our terms, with our contract. We get the difference in the contracts. They get the property. They renovate it and do whatever they want with it, keep, sell, and then the seller gets their proceeds.
Gotcha. And so how do you find these deals?
Yeah, so a lot of marketing. There's millions of different channels out there. We do them all. TV commercials, direct mail, cold calling, PPC, SEO. We've done radio before. Facebook, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some too, but pay-per lead sites, there's a million of those. We do them all. Our kind of thought is that focusing on marketing might be a mistake. It's kind of overblown. What we found to really differentiate, someone who's successful long term and not, is what their sales process is once they get those leads. At the end of the day, marketing is marketing. It's a paid service. You can get leads, and you're not going to like find some secret marketing source where no one else is hitting it and you're the only person talking to these sellers and they're the most motivated people. Every appointment we go on, there's multiple other investors who have spent money on their marketing and are now in front of these same sellers we are. So what you really need to do to be successful and get these deals is to really nail down the process of converting them to contracts. And so we've really focused on that over the years. We've spent a lot of time on our scripting, from the moment a seller fills out a form or calls in to our direct mail piece or the commercial. We have a very explicit process on, how do our ISAs claim that, how quick do they need to be, when they're on the phone with them, what's the exact scripting that's going to, get all the information we need to evaluate it and, make us seem like knowledgeable, honest people, which we are. Yeah, we've really like ironed that over the years. We spent a lot of time on training our callers. And then, more importantly, the in-person appointment, we've really had a lot of practice running those and learning how to beat out the other investors. We sometimes win properties where we're not the highest offer. We're not even the second highest offer, but because we did a really good job, of presenting what we're going to do with the property and our process and what they can expect, and represent showing them the reviews and the the positive feedback that we've had, people will go with us even when they have higher offers on the table. And so that's really what we think it comes down to, and what sets people apart in this business is just taking advantage of the opportunities you have, more so than just marketing. Because at the end of the day, that's just throwing money to get leads in front of you.
Yeah. So you've talked about kind of marketing on the front end to acquire leads. How do you, once you do have the deals, how do you then market those deals?
Yeah, definitely. So once we get the deals under contract, that starts what we call the dispo process. And that is advertising the deals out to our network of investors. And again, it comes down to like perfecting the process and coming up with one that works really good and instilling it in everyone who works for us. So every single time we get a deal signed up that we're advertising, we do the same exact process. We take pictures of the property, ourselves, either at the meeting with the seller, or if we, signed it up over the phone, we get someone out there ASAP, get like 100 pictures of them. Sometimes we have like 180 pictures. It's crazy. Then we'll put together an ad with the property information, same information every time, the pictures, and then we'll send that out to our list of investors and agents and buyers, which, we spent a really, really long time. It's been a decade in the works of building that out. At this point, I believe it's 32,000 people, and this is all just the DMV. So we really spent we have that huge list. So we'll send out the email with the property and the asking price and, the information and the pics. We'll put it on our website, where we post all our deals, which I'm going to post right now, just in case anyone here is looking for something. And, the second we send these out, the phones start blowing up. So we have a disposition manager. She fields all those calls. She answers all the questions. We've trained her on the scripting on, what to disclose, what not to disclose, how to negotiate the price, that sort of thing. We have a transaction coordination team that works with the title company, on the back end, helps vet the offers. So it's really a long process. There's not really a shortcut to it. Building out that list, took a decade, and, it takes a lot of time to build rapport with, your VIP buyers is what we call them, the people that are buying, 5, 10 to 15 properties a year from us. So you can't really shortcut that, but again, it really just comes down to time and the processes and being consistent with how you do it.
Yeah, so you touched upon some of your differentiators, but if you kind of wouldn't mind just kind of delving into that a little bit more, what makes, you know, Four Brothers special or better than some of the other wholesalers that are out on the market?
Sure, sure. And really the answer to that question is the answer to the other two questions. It's our sales process. And then also the you know, the dispo team and list we built out. But you know, we've just really spent so much time building a team here that knows how to do these calls. We built a lot of time on the scripting. You know, we've trialed and errored it over the years until we got it to a place we're comfortable with. So we built that out. You know, we have a decent amount of bandwidth. And so what is unique is that we have people like John Ma here, you know, who will do lead gen, they'll pay for marketing, and then they'll have us actually do their you know, the sales process for them. So instead of building out a sales team and training them and kind of like doing that work, they come to us with leads, or you know, sometimes it's not always the same situation. Sometimes we have people who, you know, have gotten the lead all the way to the point of an appointment, and they want us to go to the outside of, you know, the outside sales appointment because they don't want to drive around town, or maybe they're not local or something. So they'll basically tag us in and leverage what we've built to, you know, work their leads without having to build the process themselves. We also have people who will sign deals, you know, other wholesalers, they'll sign deals, but maybe they don't have a dispo team, or maybe their dispo list is lacking in a certain area and they know we can move it. So they'll tag us in and you know, have us in the systems we built out, and the, you know, the team we built out convert the deals for them, and then we have a, you know, a profit splitting arrangement depending on what the situation is. So we have a lot of people who reach out and want to work with us. It's a lot of investors, wholesalers, flippers, agents, and usually what happens is we'll have a, you know, a conversation, I will, with them, and just kind of get an idea of what they're doing, and depending on, you know, what they got going on, you know, we'll you know, be happy to work with them and help work their leads and get some deals done. But that's what I think sets us apart, is that we have this process and we have a really good conversion rate. You know, once we get a lead in front of us, you know, if there's a deal to be had, you know, if they're selling, and we can kind of share that with other investors.
Yeah, and so lastly, you had mentioned earlier that your current role within Four Brothers is with the JV program. Is there anything else that you wanted to touch upon with that?
Not too much more than what I already said. You know, I'd say to anyone here, if you have, you know, if you're doing any kind of lead gen, you know, I'd be interested in talking to you. You know, if you wanted to talk about how we can work together on that, you know, I would love to have that conversation. We also, this isn't as related to the JV program, but I posted the list of deals we have. We also have a buyers list that you can sign up for to get on that 32,000 person mail list. So I'll post a link for that as well. So I know some of the people earlier said that they're looking for deals. You know, so we do have 3 available right now. They're all in Maryland. But if you know, want to get signed up for the buyers list, that's not necessarily the JV program. That's more of like, you would be buying the project to renovate yourself. But you know, happy to get people on that as well. But yeah, if anyone has any deals they'd like to you know, talk about, let me know. And I guess I should mention how we work with agents. You know, if you have a client who, you know, it seems like it would be a good fit for a rehab property, all you have to do is let me know, you know, the address, the, you know, asking price if there is one, a general idea of the condition, and what we can do is just comp it out, you know, let you know whereabouts we'd be. It'd be the same terms we offer the seller, you know, no, we'll cover the closing costs, as is, cash, quick close, and we'll waive our buyer side commission. So the agent who's bringing it to us, they can double side it if they want, you know, get both sides of the commission or give it back to the seller, whatever they want. But it's a very easy process, you know, not very committal. Just like, hey, got this one, you might be interested, let me know. We let you know. If it works, great. If not, you know, no problem.
Cool. Nick, did you have anything else you wanted to add, or?
No, I think this is a great outlet. Two great partners to have. I think the connections that you have is just as important as the deals, because they're going to tell you whether it's a good deal or not. And this is as valuable as you get, these relationships. So highly encouraged to take Greg and Andrew's contact information. I mean, I didn't know that Greg had fix and flip, so he always surprises us. And get everybody else's information here. There are some great resources. So, and I didn't know that your all's story, so that was nice to hear. Who's the fourth brother? That's guys, you're the third. Who's the fourth?
So funny thing there are four brothers. One of the founders, John, it's really his company. He's one of four brothers. It's more of a marketing thing. They were loosely involved. They actually, two of them own a property management company in DC. It's called Gordon James. That's two of the brothers. Not sure if any of you have ever encountered them. And then one was like a lender. They weren't really involved. I think it was more of like a marketing thing when he started it.
Okay. When you said two, you know, and you
Yeah.
were the
Isn't
No, I
there
wish.
also a construction company called something Brothers?
Yeah, I believe there's a pretty high-end renovation company in DC called Four Brothers Construction or Architects or something like that. Unrelated. Unrelated.
Maybe I should start like Four Brothers Real Estate.
I know you're a lawyer, but our one of our owners of our company is a lawyer too, so might have might have to take you down for that.
Yeah. That was
Can I say
awesome.
one other thing? There's a few people asking about the scripting and you know, if we teach a class on the conversion. We actually do. You know, it's a little bit unrelated from the JV program and partnering with us. It's kind of like a paid coaching class. There's some free resources, but I'll post a link to that as well. It's called 1K Flips. It's run by the owners of our company, Kevin and Dan. So I'll post that as well if for the people asking. Thank you.
Yeah, I might have a deal for you, but it's got plenty of tenant issues and tenant rights, so I'd go for it.
We can talk.
Yeah, I know. I've been chomping on this one for a while. I don't think I
Yeah,
can
that's it. They Kevin being an attorney, sometimes we can figure
elderly,
those out.
single family, TOPA, fun stuff. But you know, you got the marketing platform. You got the dispo. I'm afraid to push the publish button and then just get all these inquiries. You know, we're used to like a few inquiries, but Nadia had the experience of having one of those where she could have used a dispo manager on a IZ unit.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Keep us in mind.
Thanks. I know we're running short on time. Maybe we could have a part two if you want to schedule with Carlos or I, Nadia and the team. We have a calendar link. Would love to talk about your situation in the market in particular. These are some links for joining the community. So it is Grid Investor Network. So join the BB or the For Investor by Investor Facebook group and the YouTube, and then keep in touch with local events. Nadia, Pat, myself, and Carlos are going to get a good lineup for next month. Hopefully to be in person, maybe in March when it gets a little warmer. Thanks. Yolanda's looking for a 2-unit where I can live in 1 unit, rent out the other. Got you, Yolanda. Put your email down.
It sounds similar to what Henry was talking about. Henry Egger was talking about, you know, something that you can live in that could also generate income.
Okay, got it.
All right, folks. Happy New Year. This is going to be an exciting year. We look forward to some of us getting some things done. We'll see it by the end of the year, what's gone down, but it's always exciting at the beginning of the year.
That's true. It is the beginning of the year. You know, you all gather together, get the business cards. So we'll have to plan something, Carlos, for March. A good event.
Yep. We'll do it.
All right,
Thanks, guys.
Thanks again.
Yeah.
Have a good
Thanks,
night.
Nick. Thanks for
running
giving
this.
me the opportunity to speak here.
All right.
Thanks. Thanks, Malik.
No
Yolanda,
problem.
is your mic working yet?
Yes, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you. So tell us, tell us a little
Sorry
bit.
about that.
what-
I
what-
was on my iPad and for some reason the mic was just not working. And so I switched to my cell phone here, trying to be mobile.
Technology.